The purpose of this video is to present a brief overview about literacy development as diagnostic teachers, right? If we are to be able to identify children's reading or writing level, we have to understand this development. And this development, wanting to learn literacy development, means that we have to understand language. So why is language so important to literacy? Well, language acquisition reflects both an innate, that means, this biological potential, it's hardwired, but it's also encompassing the linguistic characteristics of a particular cultural community. So children acquire language abilities through adult interactions in their homes, communities, and early schooling. These language experiences build the early foundations for children to be able to read and write. So literacy activities, these are essentially language activities. Now, as you can see from the diagram, as Scarborough's reading rope illustrates, children need both language-based skills and code-based skills, or word recognition skills. Early in development, children build their facility with or ability to use vocabulary, so that's the knowledge of words, and syntax, the order of those words to make meaning. Vocabulary and syntax are considered the foundational oral language skills that predict children's later reading and writing ability. If children don't engage in these language experiences, they cannot build these skills. So very early on, it's important to talk to children and engage them in linguistically rich conversations. The more facility children have with vocabulary and syntax, the faster they, in turn, can process language to enter into and benefit from those school conversations. So if kids can navigate the language of school, now they're better equipped to cultivate that background knowledge, the verbal reasoning and literacy knowledge necessary to build their comprehension. The other thing adult conversations with children can do is increase children's phonemic awareness. The more words children process, the more sounds of the word parts are being processed. Then children, when they speak, they have to use those sounds to create words. All of this lays that foundation for children to receive formal reading instruction when they come across the code. So as they come in contact and they're taught this code of conventional print, they notice that language can be transcribed. It can be broken down into its sound symbol system. Children use their oral language experiences to match sounds they've heard in conversations to those sounds' visual representations. This unlocking of the code, or what we call the alphabetic principle, allows then children to be able to write words and eventually sentences and longer texts. Thus, as children develop, they begin to intertwine both the different levels of language and their language systems. So now they start using language by eye, but when they're reading, language by ear, when they are hearing and processing language by hand when they're writing, and language by mouth when they're speaking. Children use the knowledge they have built between these language systems to orchestrate the reading and writing of more complex texts, whereby now word recognition becomes more automated and children's greater focus can shift to the language comprehension, those big ideas. So it's very important as literacy specialists to shift attention to the prominent role language plays in children's literacy development.